Alright, shalom, shalom. Oh, okay. Alright. Shalom, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Achak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great mystery who will pushing this 100% of the gospel, waking up and seeing the elect of the nation of Israel through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. And salutations to all your sincere acts matter that are pushing this gospel in all righteousness and in all sincerity, risking your lives and your freedom to do so. Alright, it's here. So like, I thought I was doing the normal sit down, so I was going to go right into it, but we are the Hebrew Israelites, so I'm back again, week in and week out, bringing out this gospel of Yahweh, bringing out 100% truth of the scriptures. Yahweh being the true name of the Heavenly Father, the creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Yahweh is only begotten Son, which the world ignorantly and willfully calls Jesus Christ, and the Raha Quadash is the Holy Spirit. Okay, and now I'm out here once again to bring out this word, and you see the big thing that is on the news right now. You see what's happening all over the earth. This is the time for rejoicing. This is the time of great joy because the Most High is finally visiting Esau, Edom, and the wicked. Okay, especially starting with the tribe of Amalek, because you see what's happening, and of course the Arabs as well are living in the land of Israel. Because you see what is happening right now. They are in conflict with each other. Amalek and Palestine. Amalek and Ishmael. Basically, they are in conflict with each other, both the Jewish and the Muslims. Okay, that's all part of biblical prophecy because first of all, those people, they have no business being in that land. Okay, that isn't their real land. Okay, and secondly, because of their contribution to the oppression and the enslavement of our people, so the Messiah is finally paying them back for all that with judgment. Right, so let me read this precept first and foremost. And this is, watching this unfold, you can see how it will lead to World War III. Because right now the US isn't retaliating. Okay, the US isn't trying to do anything to stop what is going on between Amalek and Ishmael. All right, but Russia and China want to intervene. They're trying to prevent it from happening. I can see how this can easily lead to World War III. So the first picture I want to get to the book of Jeremiah. You know what I'm going to get? The list of the flock shall draw them out. Right, because right now because right now World War III is getting closer and closer. Man. You can see it about to unfold. I can see it about to unfold because if Ishmael gets on Amalek, really hard, starts going up again and start actually declares war against them. You know that Israel is going to have, that Babylon is going to have to intervene, and they know that Russia and China are going to get involved. That's how World War III could easily start. Right, so this is the book of Jeremiah 49, verse 20, and it reads, "Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he has proposed, that he has taken against." Okay, let me count that. Start again. Alright, Jeremiah 49, verse 20. "Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he has taken against Edom, and his purposes that he has proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall, and at the cry of the noise thereof." Okay, I went too far. But basically, let me read that again. Okay, I don't know why. Let me read that again. Let me focus this time. Okay. Jeremiah 49, verse 20. "Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them." And the least of the flock is Amalek. Okay, because even if Babylon doesn't want to go to war, even if the elites don't want to go to war, if Amalek gets threatened, if the Jewish get threatened, that Babylon will have to make a move. That America will have to make a move. The other Edomite nations will have to make a move as well, because that's the exact same thing that happened in World War II. Okay, when they started seeing the way that the so-called Jewish were being oppressed in Germany, that's when America began to move. That's when even Russia, started to retaliate. And the joint forces of America and Russia was what brought down the German regime during that time. And then the same thing is happening right now, because these are not the people. Okay, this is showing you 100% proof that these are not the people. Right, because what the scriptures say first and foremost, that when Jerusalem comes back to their land, because you Christians, okay, and majority of these people are also these Zionists that think that those Israelis, those Amalekites that are living in the land today are the actual people. Then you say that that them coming back to the land is a fulfillment of biblical prophecy, fulfillment of the return of the Israelites. But where is we know what the scriptures say about the return of the Israelites, how there will be peace on the earth, how the Most High will keep them in Israel and guard them and protect them, and nobody will be able to come against them. That nobody will be able to oppress or shake the inhabitants of Zion again. But where do you see that? Okay, are these Jewish still not being oppressed? Are they still not being attacked on every side because of who they are? Okay, so let me get that episode as well. The scripture says that Jerusalem will children down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. But the Most High is visiting these heathen because they are not the people. Look at that precept. Alright, so this is the book of Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36 verse 5, and it reads, Therefore thus saith the Yahweh of power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their hearts, with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. Alright, and that's going into Amalek and the heathen, okay? Esau, Edom, and the heathen as well. The Ishmaelites are living in that land. Right, because first and foremost, they took our land, they took the land of Israel, which was for our people. That is, used to call Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And then they took the people of the land as well and turned them into a prey, sold them into captivity. Because you know about the Arabs contribution, you know about the Arabs and you Hamites as well, your contribution to slave trade, alright? Because there are a lot of Hamites that are claiming to be Ethiopian Jews. They are living in the land as well. Alright, so all the heathen, so all the heathen that were involved in our people's oppression are, are gathered up in that land. Ishmael, Ham, Edom, alright, and all the other Shemitic nations. Alright, they gathered together in that land. Hell, even Elam is, in that land. Okay, I believe it's Pakistani, the Pakistani, because it's still in the Middle East. Okay, the entire the Middle East, it has all the heathen that were involved in our captivity up in that land. Okay, and now the Most High is bringing that judgment on them. That's why you hear stories about constantly about bombings in Iraq, bombings in Syria. Troops being deployed. All kinds of hell happening in that place. That's why the majority of the Middle East is basically a war zone, because the Most High is visiting those people. The Most High is visiting them. Alright, that's the cause for them inhabiting that land and not being the people of that land. Okay, because you remember what happened, alright, in the Old Testament, when the northern kingdom got chased out of the land by the Assyrians, and the Assyrians put Hamites in that land, and the Hamites weren't keeping the laws. Okay, let's see whether I can find that. Where they had to send a priest to teach those Hamites to keep the laws. Alright, that's the thing that's happening right now. The land is being judged, it's being visited by the Most High. Plagues, plagues. Okay, you have the locust plague that was ravaging the Middle East, wars and conflicts, poverty, oppression. Okay, because those people that are in the land, they're not keeping the laws. Right, they're not keeping the laws of the land. They're not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. The Most High is visiting them. Right, bringing calamity on them because of that, as a way of vengeance for, first and foremost, invading that land and inhabiting the land falsely, and then refusing to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of that land. So let me see whether I can get that precept. So like I'm trying to remember which I'll use. I'm trying to remember how it goes. I'll ask them, check it out on the, I'll ask them, search for it on the Google. Yeah, I didn't want to turn out here because of this sun. But the other place I was doing my camping, where the shit was, I couldn't finish up. Alright, Right, I think I found the Second Kings, the 17th chapter. Let me see if I can get that. Second Kings, the 17th chapter. From the 24th verse, alright. Second Kings 17 verse 24. So this is the book of 2 Kings 17 verse 24. I don't know if you can see me clearly. Let me try and switch the camera angle. Alright, 2 Kings 17 verse 24. And it reads, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the most high of the power of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the power of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye have brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach them the manner of the power of the land. And that's basically the thing that's happening in the land of in the Middle East, this day. Because these people they worship these Arabs, they worship Hinduism, okay, they worship Islam, and of course Judaism, which of course all those religions aren't a part of aren't they are basically pagan religions, okay, idol worship. That's why the Most High is getting on them like that. That's why these Palestinians are constantly getting bombed out, Ishmael is constantly getting bombed out, Syria, Iraq, and those other nations are constantly being bombed out. You have sandstorms happening almost every other day in Saudi Arabia and the UAE, okay? You see them, Amalek is basically has the highest rate of skin cancer, even in the world, in that land, alright? Because because of the Edomites, created by his son, because of the Most High's cause, which of course surprises nobody. But a lot of death and destruction happens in that land, famine, pestilence, poverty. Alright, a lot of that happens in that land because they are refusing to keep the laws of the Most High in the land of the Most High. And this same thing has happened before, so you see history repeating itself, no new thing under the sun. That is Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiastes is the first chapter right there. No new thing under the sun, Is there anything that happened that has not happened before? There is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything that you can see and say that this is new? Alright, that is just a repeat of history. Right, because the same people coming back doing the same thing over and over again. And these heathen, they're doing the same thing over and over again. But this is beautiful, right? Because the children of the Most High playing out on the earth, these Amalekites. Because 10 years ago, 20 years ago, showing that we're at the end right now, this wouldn't have happened, man. Palestine would have never carried bombs and talking about how they want to get on Amalek, This is the first thing that these Palestinians are actually retaliating at this devil, at what these so-called Jews are doing, and it's hard for the whole world to see, because now because now everybody is seeing how Amalek is actually treating the Palestinians. Everybody is seeing how Amalek is oppressing these Palestinians, and this is what Esau does, man. Because those Israelis, okay, those fake Jews, they're not meant to be in that land. Alright, they're not even meant to be in that land, first and foremost, because they're not even the original inhabitants of that land. Their land goes back to Amalek, the grandson of Esau, Edom. They are Edomites, okay? They're supposed to be in Seir. If the Balfour Declaration, which of course is another thing that we'll get into, actually carve off a land in Seir, nobody will be complaining right now, But of course, they have to fake it out and they didn't even go as far as to name the land Israel, which of course, the true name in the Hebrew is Yasharallah, but still, they went as far as to name the land Israel and call themselves the children of the Most High. Right? Call themselves the sons of Jacob, which they are actually the grandsons of Esau, right? But they are still the sons of Esau at the end of the day. But the main thing I wanted to get into is they are oppressing the Palestinians that are in that land, which of course that land does not belong to the Palestinians as well, but they are oppressing the people that are in the land. Because this is how Esau does. When he comes to a place, they seize the inhabitants there and he basically puts them in slavery and steals their land. Alright, he did it in Babylon, to the northern kingdom and to the northern kingdom, okay? He did it in Australia, to those Japhites that are living in Australia. He did it in India, right, to those Elamites, okay? He did it in the west coast of Africa, with the whole colonialism and colonization. This is his MO. So let me get the book of Micah, the 2nd chapter. And that's how you know that those Israelis are actually part of Esau Edom, because they did the exact same thing with the so-called Balfour Declaration. Because guess what? All right, I actually looked this up. Okay, Palestine didn't sign or it didn't even have a say in the Balfour Declaration. It was actually the British government that just decided that, okay, see, what, since because of the events of World War II and because of a certain hate event that happened, you know what I'm talking about. Now we're going to have to send these Jews, we're going to have to send, we can create a homeland for the Israelis, after all the horrible things that happened to them during the events of World War II. But yet, my brothers, the brothers in Babylon, Jake in Babylon, that have been oppressed for 400 years. 400 years, okay? They've been oppressed for 400 years. No. These devils didn't think to these devils didn't think to create an autonomous nation for them. They didn't think to carve out a piece of land for them. But these fake ass Jewish, that's one event happened to them. That's one thing, and then their reparation is automatically a land, and then billions upon billions in freaking welfare being sent by Babylon. You're being sent from Babylon to them every single, I believe it's every single year. So, okay, yeah, but basically being sent from Babylon to them, the biggest welfare state and everything, being sent, from Babylon, and yet the true Israelites, are you Negroes, Latinos, and these Americans, so-called, that have the longest history of oppression in this kingdom of any society. All right, from these same devils, they didn't even allow you to get reparations. All they all did was just apologize for slavery. They didn't even apologize for slavery. All they all did was pretend you were free, emancipate you, all right, give you, stand you out to the government, to hand you over to the government, hand your slave papers over to the government to control. Now you have birth certificates. Now you have driving license. Because guess what? If you need a license to use something you own, guess what? You don't own it. Because you mess up, you mess up on your loans, the government can seize your land. You mess up, the government can seize your house, the government can seize your car, the government can seize almost anything that you own. That means that you don't own it because you're a property of the state. Even here in Nigeria, even you people that are living here in Nigeria, you're still a property of the state. Because the government can still seize your land. You don't even buy land, you rent it. The so-called buying land, it only lasts for like what, 99 years. Alright? I've seen the papers, you don't even buy land, you rent land, okay? So nobody actually owns anything, nobody actually owns anything in this kingdom. It's all licensed by the state, by the true owners, which are these so-called elites. And those true owners carved out a land for these Palestinians, up, in the Middle East. They carved out a land from the Palestinians up in the Middle East and give it to those Amalekites. Now they're calling themselves Israelis today. And now men like Vocab, are you fucking Zionist Edomite Christians? Now it's talking about how this is a fulfillment of prophecy. Israel is now finally in the homeland again. Praise God and all that nonsense, Even though those Israelis, they think of you as Goyim. In other words, cattle. They basically think the same thing that we do, except in wickedness. Because they aren't the real people. Right? At least the Israelites will tell you to your face that you're going into slavery. But those Israelis, they still see you as slaves. Right? But they'll use you, right? But they'll use you for wickedness. They'll pretend that they don't know. They'll pretend that they actually are thinking of you, because that's how Esau Edom does, man. What is the scripture say? Let me get that. His words were sweeter than honey, but in his heart was drawn swords. Right? That's how Esau Edom does, even against his own people. Even against his fellow Edomites, that's what they do. Because guess what? Right now, Amalek thinks that they are better than even the average Edomites. That's why the least of the flock shall draw them out, because that prophecy has already been fulfilled in World War II. Right? Even in World War I as well. All these so-called world wars, which are basically like the Malcolm always says, Edomites killing Edomites. They were all drawn out by Amalek. It was the least of the flock. It was the Amalekites that drew them out. Okay, it was because of Amalek, because the so-called those fake-ass Jews. That was the reason why they even fought in those wars. And that was the reason why the whole planet went into those wars. The Rothschilds, right? The hype Jewish banking families, right? They're the ones that caused all of these wars, and the ones that will cause more wars. But what's happening? Like I said before, is beautiful. Okay, the Most High is bringing judgment for you Amalekites, for what you have done in that land. All right. He's bringing hell on those people, man. He's bringing And like I'm going back to what I was saying, I said that what 10 years ago, 20 years ago, this would have never happened. If the Israelis bombed Palestine, guess what? Those Palestinians, they just sat down and taking it. They just sat down and took it. But the Most High is rousing up all these other nations against Esau, Edom. Because what these nations are thinking right now is, that the so-called that Esau, Edom is losing his power. They are seeing that Esau, Edom is losing his power, all right? Everybody is seeing that you devils are losing your power. And you're no longer as strong as you were before. Then there was a time where people thought that who can go against them and defeat them. But now they are being slowly broken down. They're being slowly taken down, and now everybody is looking at them like, thou as weak as us. Going back to let me get that precept. Book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. Let me just get to the physical Bible. Isaiah 14. I'm kind of regretting living the place that I was in before. I just stay there and power through. But anyway, the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. Isaiah 14 verse 9. Hell from beneath is moved to me. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? That's right, okay? Because right now all these nations are preparing for war. Right? What does the scripture say? Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into arrows. Let me get that. Let the weak say, I am strong. Because all the nations are preparing for war right now. The war drums are being beaten right now. The war drums are being beaten by the Most High right now. You see the crash of the economy, the economic crisis. Like I said, the economic crisis basically. The economy crashing and the dollar going down. Babylon losing its power. Now everybody is getting ready to usurp Babylon and take its position on the earth. Right. So let me get these precepts. Okay, I'm trying to figure out why. Yeah, I'm trying to get it. So this is the book of Joel 3 verse 9 and Joel 3 verse 9 and it reads, Joel 3 verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. That's basically what is going on right now. The heathen are getting ready for war. They are beating their... And basically, what it means is that they are increasing their military budgets. Because you know how it is, man. You know how people are constantly talking about Babylon's military budget. You know how it's going into the trillions. You know, all these other nations are following the leader of Babylon and spending more money on military. You know, you see what happened with Iran. You know, it started up a nuclear program, and now it has nuclear warheads. Okay, you know, all the other nations are starting to get better. You know, starting to get better weapons. You know, starting to get better machinery, better artillery for the different countries, especially up in the Middle East. Man. You know, they start to get bigger missiles, bigger guns, bigger tanks. You know, air force and everything like that. Right? People are they're starting to build up their nations because war is coming. You know, and this isn't just a brother in GMS is fear mongering. You know, he's trying to make everybody. That's actually what is happening, man. A lot of people are getting ready for World War III. Right? They're getting ready for civil unrest. They're getting ready for all hell to break loose. And this is just a sign that this war is getting close. It's closer and closer, and it's getting closer and closer than ever. You know, because because people have been sitting on their list thinking that nothing is going to happen again. And they hear about Israel and Palestine exchanging missiles with each other, and they realize that war might actually be closer than it is. And then Babylon has to get involved. China and Russia are actually getting involved. They're talking about how they're addressing the conflict, talking about Babylon is talking about how they're not going to interfere. Of course they aren't, man, because they are puppet. The elites, okay, the leaders in Babylon are puppets, right? They are being controlled by those Jewish banking families, and are being told to leave Israel, to leave the Israelis alone. Let them do what they want to do. Let them oppress those Palestinians, okay? And those Palestinians are catching hell because they're going against the Most High. So we don't even have any pity for them. But at the end of the day, man, you have actually tries to punish them for what they've done to our people first and foremost, and then the other hidden as well. But still, you see you see what's going on, in the Middle East right now. That's judgment, man. That's beautiful. It's showing you as the true people of the Most High, okay, the Israelites aren't in the land, because what is happening right there is proof that those aren't the real Jewish, okay. You see how much conflict is happening there. Since last year there have been riots in the land of Israel, or rather the state of Israel, because that's not even the actual land, it's the state. And basically what that state is the state that was created by the Belflors and the Rothschilds, which are part of the same family of Esau Edom. Like I was going into the Belflor Declaration, and I actually had the Belflor Declaration pulled up, because I was going into it before I started bringing this out here. I was going to go into it to try to get some understanding on it. All right, but maybe I want to read a little bit of it, but let me just leave it, okay? I'm not really going to go too deep into it, but basically what it is that it was a declaration that was signed by England and the Rothschild family, which shows you exactly who owns the land of Israel today, rather the state of Israel. Alright, it's the Rothschilds that own it, okay, because the Belflors, okay, the English government gave that land over to the Rothschilds. So it's basically the Rothschilds that own it, and I might be off on this a little bit, they might have some what they call them, some shell companies, okay. They might have some cover companies, or cover rather shell corporations, or people that that they claim are the true owners, but aren't actually the owners. Right? Because at the end of the day, all the lands that are on the earth are owned by these Jewish families. Right? Because the scripture says that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, the whole earth. And now what are they done? They are iconoclastic, claiming that the people of the Most High are people that they aren't. People are talking about first and foremost those fake Jews. If they are inhabiting that land was a fulfillment of prophecy, then why doesn't somebody explain to me why they are still catching hell in that land? All right, why why they can't have peace in that land? And I'll give you the reason why. It's written up in the scriptures. And the Most High shall have war with Amalek from generation to generation. That's basically it. And I've actually done a lesson on this before. And ever since that land was established in 1948, from 1948 till now, that land hasn't, the Israelis haven't gone a single day without a war or without going through a war. After they got into that land, they got into that land with war. They remember, and brothers have brought this out a lot. That Egyptian Prime Minister, Abdul Nasir, I'm sorry, I've forgotten his name. But basically said that the land of Israel will never know peace as long as the Israelis will never know peace as long as they dwell there, because they left the land black, or rather they left the land dark skinned or so-called black and came back so-called white, right? Because those are not the true people. Those Arabs that are in that land, they know that they're not the true people. Alright? The Edomites most of them that are in that land, they know they're not the true people. Right? And the elites, they know they're not the true people. That's why they put them in that land, because they are impostors. It's the exact same thing that the Babylonian Empire did after they chased out the Northern Kingdom. Right? They went to go and put their people, their fellow Hamites in that land in the land as well. Talking about let them stay in that land, okay? It's the exact same thing that Esau Edom is doing. He puts his own people in that land now, and now they dwell there, they inhabit the land, and they're calling themselves the so-called, they're calling themselves the true Jews, but the true Jews. But we know they're not the true Jews, man. All right, so then I'm going on. And when I want to get again, okay. So okay, I've forgotten that I want to bring out. So like, I've forgotten that I want to bring out. My bad. That's my bad. And I don't really like standing out here. I want to go out to the highways and byways. But I don't really want to go. Look, I can't find any good spots to stay at. This country is filthy, man. Death and shit everywhere, even in public roads. But that's just how it is, man. Our people are under the curses, this whole nation. Our people are under the curses, that's just a fact. I can't remember what I want to go back into. But anyway, let me just keep on. Since I can't remember what I want to go into, let me just keep on going. Alright, so you have fake Jews that are living in the land of Israel right now, being in conflict with all the nations around about them. Even though it's according to the scriptures, alright, let me get that, let me get some of that. According to the scriptures, if they were the true Israelites, let me get that. Alright, so the first piece I want to get is the book of Jeremiah 23. The sun is too bright. Let me just get it in the physical Bible. Jeremiah 23rd chapter. Alright, so this is the book of Jeremiah 23. And I'll start from verse 5. Jeremiah 23 verse 5, and it reads, Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh our righteousness. Alright, so that's another thing right there. Where is their Messiah? Where is King David? Because those Jewish, they don't believe in the Savior. They don't believe in Yahweh. They don't believe that he was the Savior. So where are those people, man? Because in the last days, the scripture promises that what? That Yahweh and King David will be ruling on the earth. And the people of Israel will be ruling as well. So if they are in that land right now, why is it that you can't see Yahweh nowhere? Why is it that they can't see King David anywhere? Why isn't this prophecy fulfilled? Because those people aren't the real people, okay? Okay, it's really getting cut out here, man. It's ridiculous. But anyway, those people aren't the real people because they aren't the real people, man. You see what's the I'm looking for? You see I don't understand what is wrong with this today. Anyway, as I was saying, you see this is no, let me just go into something else. Let me go into something else. So this is the book of Ezekiel 38, and I'll start from Ezekiel 38 verse 8, and it reads, After many days, thou shalt be visited in the latter years. Thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thou saith Yahweh power, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt. Okay, I've gone too fast. Okay. But basically, it's going into what are people dwelling safely in our land. Okay, nobody being able to oppress us, nobody being able to fight against us. God is scripture saying that the Most High will fight against all those that fight against us. You know, fight against them and destroy them completely. Alright, so this is showing that the people is okay, aren't the real people, because first and foremost, alright, it's Yahweh Bashim Yahshua that is fighting against them because they aren't the real people. Okay, because they're pretending to be, they're living in that land, pretending to be the people are in that land. They are impostors. Alright, so I'm not going to end it right there. I don't want to go into that anymore. So I'll just end it right there. And I completely forgot to bring my handkerchief. So that's yeah. And this is really hot today, man. Yes, okay, I'm not really. Anyway, let me keep on going.